Our job is to create heroes.
Hi, so welcome to Flirting with a Fish. I have always read of you for so many years and I've always wondered that आपको इतनी knowledge आती कहाँ से है? इतने सारे topics के बारे में आप कैसे लिख लेते हो? So today's podcast is I'm going to only try and figure out how do you grab so much information and how do you write so wonderfully? So where do you come from? So that's my attempt. So I was curious that, of course, you've been a very intrinsic part of KKR, and now you're heading the volleyball league, and two distinctive sports, completely distinct. Cricket, तो obviously India में हम सोते जागते we breathe cricket, but not so much volleyball, right? So what transpired for this movement?
So basically, after cricket, after KKR for 3 years, I was the head of project director for the Under 17 Football World Cup.
Mm-hmm.
And when that finished in 2017, 2018, then somebody who worked with me professionally, baseline, Tuhin Mishra, he said that would you be interested in a volleyball league? So it was of interest to me. I played volleyball in college, but not seriously. I was very serious about basketball, but not about volleyball. But what it was I said that if you have to do a sport, there are two things you have to do. A is it a good TV sport? Because finally, if it doesn't look good on the screen, it's no point, whatever you do. Okay. The second is the standard in India good enough? Because sometimes with football that problem happens. You see Indian football and you compare it with international football, आपको लग रहा है कि वो मजा नहीं आ रहा है. So is this good enough to watch? So I remember going to a nationals in Kozhikode, Calicut, right in the middle of that's really volleyball country. And I saw the passion, and more importantly, I saw the game, the quality of the game. And I said, yeah, we can do something with this. And that's
This
where
is
the
possible on the TV screen.
And it looks good on TV. Because see, remember, volleyball, big ball, lot of action, and very easy to understand action, yet very difficult to understand the details of the action. So volleyball is like chess. आपको चेस का बेसिक मूव्स आप 5 मिनट में समझ जाओगे. ठीक है, pawn can go 2 steps and one step. These are the moves. To understand how to play good chess can take you many lifetimes.
Right.
So volleyball is a lot like that. The basic game is very simple. 3 touches you have, you've got to get it across. Ball touches the ground, it's their point. The other team's point. But within that, कितने complications है, कितने tactics है, कितना कुछ है, it's unbelievable. So that's what I found. I found it both a very simple sport so that anyone can watch and enjoy, but also a very complex sport. So if you want to analyze, मजा आएगा आपको.
Figure out करते रहो उसको, क्या कैसे करा, किसने क्या किया.
And there's a whole lot of things in it, yeah.
So what is the sports culture of our country today?
We are on our way. I won't say so. We didn't have a sports culture. So if you look at it,
clearly.
and I'll tell you why. Because we started in 47, independent country. उसके पहले जो federations थे, कौन थे? The British used to run it. And when 47 the British went away, who took over? The only people in 1947, if you read Indian history, who had the time at that time and the money, were the Rajas and the Maharajas. बाकी देश तो रोटी कपड़ा और मकान के पीछे भाग रही है. So you have no option. So sport was good, but it's something you do on your side. First, you want to do nation building and all. So if you see, the federations were still dominated by the Rajas, Maharajas till the 60s, 70s. Right. 1970, Privy Purse came. Right. Maharajas also got broke. Yeah. Then the bureaucrat and the politician entered. And that is one of the saddest things for the sport, because the politician saw it as a useful way. In the 70s, if you wanted to travel abroad, the maximum allowance you could take in say mid 70s was about 20 rupees. So nobody could actually travel abroad. Who could travel abroad? If you're an official for a sports. So all these sports organizations were full of officials who were using this to travel abroad, to do this. So this is how this country went. In fact, one of the most crucial decisions about hockey था कि hockey इसके पहले natural turf पे खेली जाती थी. 75 Olympics के पहले a decision was taken to do it on artificial turf. Okay. Now the two most important people who should have protested there was India and Pakistan, क्योंकि game हमारा था. See, before this, artificial turf means the ball travels very fast. But dribbling का उतना value नहीं है, because you move very fast. So it's more fitness rather than dribbling and the sort of the ability,
the skill of it.
Our officials were too busy shopping. Everybody else passed it, and suddenly hockey changed for India. So if you look at it, that is how hockey got killed in India, because hockey, the moment it became artificial, we were not fit enough compared to the Germans and the Dutch, the Germans. All these guys were much fitter. I would say sport again has started coming together in 2008. One was the IPL is a big thing for professionalization of sport. The second was Ahmedabad Bindra winning a gold. And these two were landmark events. And I think after that, our sporting journey literally is 16 years old. 16 saal ka ye bas.
That's it.
That's it. And not only that, if you played also, the officials were corrupt, there was no money, there was no recognition. So one of our finest runners, Sriram Singh, running in the Olympics ke liye run karne gaya hai. He's going to Montreal on his way. He was in London. And my brother-in-law happened to be a runner who was there in England at the moment. And he said that he didn't know what to eat. तो वो सिर्फ दूध पीता था और ब्रेड खाता था क्योंकि these are the only two things he understood. There was nobody then to explain to him how can you run on a diet of bread
Nutrition.
and milk? Yeah, protein. I mean, just that's all. So our understanding was so low, our support was so less. So all these things have improved only in the last 10-15 years. Abhi we have got an understanding. Okay, what is it that a player needs? प्लेयर का न्यूट्रिशन क्या होगा, फिजियोथेरेपिस्ट कैसा होगा, ट्रेनिंग कैसा होगा, स्किल डेवलपमेंट कैसा होगा. नाउ वी आर लर्निंग दिस, नाउ वी हैव कॉट अप.
सो सॉरी फॉर बीइंग सो नाइव, बट फिर ये आईपीएल आ कहाँ से गया, कैसे आया एकदम से?
IPL is a very interesting thing because IPL बहुत पहले से Lalit Modi had been trying. In those days, Mr. Dalmia was in charge. They've been trying to do a 50 over IPL for many years. In fact, in the 80s and 90s, Arun Lal and he went Piyush Pandey, who is also a very close friend of Arun Lal, is also a cricketer, first class cricketer tha Piyush Pandey apne time mein. And they went and presented Mr. Dalmia of the league. They even had a sponsor, Tata's. The player will get a Mercedes car. Sab kuch decide ho gaya tha. But it was not passed at that time. When Mr. Dalmia went out of power and Mr. Bindra and Mr. Modi came into power, they said that we want to do a league. Uske theek pehle ICL hua hai, which is a 20 over league. So ICL hua, then India went to the World Cup. MS Dhoni and young team won it. And then they said, "Ye to karna hi hai." And then in 6 months' time, literally the IPL happened.
So can it be said that it was like the right time, right people connecting?
Correct. Yeah, absolutely. And
पक चुका था वो पूरा एकदम.
And to be honest with you, अगर वो combination नहीं होता, you would have never got what you did. See, what Mr. Modi did was, in many ways, he was a genius. India में 3 चीज चलता है. Politics, films, sport, cricket. Sport भी नहीं, cricket.
बिल्कुल, cricket हाँ.
He got politics inside. Okay, a lot of ministers and all, they supported. He got the movie stars. He got Shah Rukh, he got Preeti Zinta, he got all of them. Okay, Shilpa Shetty. And he also got, in fact, big money into India. The big business, Mukesh Ambani's, the Malias, all these came. So this combination gave a very heady mixture of everything. Sab kuch aapko ek saath mil raha hai.
Wow.
And then your players, the best players in the world playing. So the combination of all of that is unbelievable. And मैं तो बताता हूँ कि forget about India. हम लोग IPL, we look at the phenomenon in India. It is a worldwide phenomenon. The leagues we compare IPL to, we are third or fourth largest league in the world. The NFL or NBA or Premier League football. The Premier League football is 100 years old in its actual form. It's been around since the early 20th century. We've just 94. You've just got the Premier League as it is. But league football has been happening in India, in England for 100 years. The NBA has been happening in some shape or form since 1940s. So what are we talking about? Those leagues have been around for 60-70 years. हम लोग 5 साल में we started competing with them. And that is why I'm saying that the IPL is a freak of nature, not just in Indian sport, but in world sport. People look at it and say, एक league 5 साल के अंदर इतना बड़ा कैसे हो सकता है?
So you're saying that is because of the entire consortium of the type of people that have come together.
And the fact that India में there was always interest in sport. There was always, the money is always there in India. Since 2000, we've had the money.
Yeah.
It all came together at one place. And all these factors got together and it just made it perfect. देखिए, what is IPL? In the end, it's a domestic tournament. आप कभी जाकर go and see a Ranji Trophy final and see how many people sitting down there. You will find full city, all the top cricketers playing, nobody is there. For any IPL match, go and see how many people you see. So it's a different ball game altogether. It's a freak of nature which has just caught fire, and it's on a level of its own.
वो क्यों है? Like exactly like what you say, best players playing for the Ranji Trophy, stadium खाली है.
क्योंकि वो जो combination है कि it is शाहरुख खान भी है, प्रीति जिंटा भी है, हमारे इमेजिनेशन भी है, मुकेश अंबानी क्या कर रहा है, आकाश अंबानी क्या कर रहा है, विजय माल्या क्या सोच रहा है, धोनी क्या सोच रहा है, और हार्दिक पांड्या कैप्टन होना चाहिए. Who's going to be the captain? All these are things that it's got everything. And that's why in year one, there was controversy after controversy. Harbhajan Singh, Slapgate, then there was Shoaib Akhtar, then Pakistan cricketers coming, going. Something is happening all the time. It only helped the league. It was never
pushed it up in the news.
It just kept pushing it up. It never pushed it down. Nobody looked at it and said, "Arey, ye sab kya ho raha hai? This shouldn't be in the league." The interest just increased.
So was this like sort of planned?
No. It wasn't planned, but that's what I'm saying. That Mr. Modi caught it. That thing, and even that, if you realize, the first match, Brendan McCullum comes and hits 158 of 73 balls. Shah Rukh Khan applauding, Brendan McCullum hitting 6 after 6, Vijay Mallya sitting in the stand. You had all the drama. Had that match not done well, KKR was 80 all out, nothing was. Shah Rukh didn't come to watch the match. Nothing
Nahi
have
hota
happened.
वैसा.
So that fire was set. That match that ignited it was 18th April 2008.
So ये IPL के auctions के बारे में हम लोग को बड़ी curiosity होती है because this is not an accessible world. कैसे होते हैं auctions?
Currently with Chennai, 2 crore opening bid for Pat Cummins. Any bids at all coming in? Any teams thinking about it at 2 crore? 220, welcome Mumbai at 220. 240. 260.
Now it started off, a lot of teams didn't know what they're doing, but now it's a very process. In fact, that's how I got into IPL. When I was many years back, I was in ESPN Star Sport, I designed a game called Super Selector, which is actually this. Super Selector was fantasy sport. Aap Dream 11 jo dekh lo, ye sab, that comes from Super Selector.
Okay.
In fact, Harsh Jain, the person who's ran Dream 11, said he came to India back from the US, wanted to play Super Selector, it wasn't there, and realized there was a market opportunity. That's how it started. So anyway, Super Selector was all about selecting the right players and putting a team together. So I had done that. So I had actually gone and met 2-3 teams before the auction and said, I can design a system for you to help you mathematically pick the best odds of players.
Okay.
And that's what I went to them. And in fact, other teams also said, one other team was interested, the third one was not. Finally, that's how I went to auction. And Shah Rukh was, we were introduced to Shah Rukh. There was my friend Jeet. He introduced me to Lalit, and Lalit took us to Shah Rukh, and that's how it happened.
और आपको कैसा लगा कि आप ये डिजाइन कर सकते हो, मतलब selection process?
No. So what happens is there are 2 parts to it. One is how good or bad a player is. How much do you want to play?
Skill based.
Skill, which we don't decide on. The second is how do you design the mathematics of picking a squad of 16, 18. That can be mathematically designed. I took that. See, I also have a degree in mathematics, but I worked with 4 professors from ISI to design that system.
Wow.
But the inputs of which player is worth how much, that a Saurav Ganguly put in. He decided कि इसको इतना देना है, ये इतना value है मेरे लिए. अब हमारा काम था, if you believe this much value, हम ये जितने player आपको चाहिए, कितने player को आप दे सकते हैं. We can't give you everyone,
sure,
but can we give you as many as you want?
As many as you want. And when now of course IPL has got, everybody knows about it. But जब भी कोई चीज शुरू होती है, तब एक unknown community को उसके बारे में convince करना, pitch करना सबसे मुश्किल होता है. तो उस time कैसे लाए होंगे इन सब celebrities को उनको?
The biggest challenge was to get the big people on. Shah Rukh in fact came because Jay Mehta is an old school friend of Lalit Modi. So Lalit met Jay, and Jay said, okay, I'm interested. Then Jay and Juhi, Shah Rukh and Juhi had a company together.
Yeah.
Jay, Juhi, Shah Rukh, and they got together, and that's how it happened. So all these also happened because of a particular set of circumstances which are almost impossible to replicate.
Right.
You look at it and you say that कुछ भी हो सकता था, हो सकता है नहीं हो सकता था.
What if Mr. Mehta would have just said कि नहीं, it's not up my sleeve, नहीं करना मुझे बस, तो रह गया होता.
Exactly. So a lot of things came together, and that's why I say that you will not find another IPL in world sport. Forget about in Indian sport.
मुझे तो वही कह रहा है कि it's just like it had to happen. It's like all the right things started to happen. Right people started talking to each other, and here we have.
Yeah, absolutely.
But Joy, then it's like really like who you are. Like it's really what you are saying and making it happen.
I'd love to say it's everything has a time and place. So I can do it, say, for a volleyball league. For a IPL, it was a great thing was that players were from the very first treated well, and we were fortunate also. Shah Rukh was a person who really respected his players. He looked at players as somebody who should be respected. And I think that's important, right? Because that brings a culture of the team.
Yeah.
So I remember the only 2-3 things I did with KKR was I had a very simple thing. Different players were paid different money. You can't decide that. That's an auction decides. But everyone would fly together. If everyone flew economy, everyone will fly economy. Everyone flies business, everyone will fly business. Okay. If Shahrukh gave a gift in year one, he used to be really happy giving gifts. I said, you give it to the captain of the team, you will give it to the security person who travels with the team. Everyone gets the same gift. Because if you are going to work as a team and you want to show that, those things you'll do.
Wow.
So I'll tell you, it's a very funny thing. In 2014, we were in Dubai, and that's the last season I worked in KKR. And we were in Dubai and we were coming back from Dubai. And the airline screwed up. And we had only 10 business class seats. And there were some 30 people. So what do you do? So I called Gautam, I called Trevor Bayliss, and we made sure that who got business class seats? The tall players, because their knees are required. So all the guys, so Morne Morkel got a seat like that, Umesh Yadav, big legs, big this thing, Pat Cummins, they all got business class seats first. And captain, coach, everybody else all sat
Together.
Yeah. So I'll tell you one more great example of how teams work. Jacques Kallis came in 2011 to KKR. Now Jacques Kallis is not the greatest T20 player, but if you look at Test match cricket or cricket, if there's an 11 of the top players of all time in Test cricket, he's probably there in that level. 11 out of all the players who played Test cricket since 1877. He's that good. So he's a great of the game. So 2011 में game हो रहा था दिल्ली में, and we were playing Delhi afternoon game. Firozshah Kota, rock hard, पत्थर जैसा floor है. You fall, it'll graze you like that. Jacques Kallis bat किया ज़्यादा, didn't make too many runs, made about 8-9 runs, got out. Bowling, he bowled 2 overs, got hit, 18 runs. He didn't bowl again. So Jacques Kallis was standing in that boundary, deep square leg mein first, and then deep third man. So he was changing depending left-hand batsman. He was going one way or the other. Jacques Kallis, in that last 3-4 overs, he dived 2 times, 3 times, 4 times. Every time he dived, our physio Andrew would get up to run to the field to help him. And Jacques would just wave him back. When he came back, we won that match by 6-7 runs, not very much. And Jacques had saved 3 certain boundaries, उसने dive करके बचाया. He took off his shirt. उससे यहाँ से लेकर यहाँ तक पूरा it's red, it's पूरा skin उतर गया. And after that, you never ever had to explain to anyone कि यार what is commitment in a game. It works better than any lesson you give. जितना ये बस देख लेना. Bacche player, they just looked at him and they said, this is a player who's one of the greatest of all time.
वो उसी टाइम क्विट करके जाके सबको स्यू कर दिया होता.
उसका ये commitment. So that's what it is, that all of this also works when you have the people, the kind of personnel who can drive that message home.
Clearly.
If Jacques had gone out in the first drive, finished it and said, okay, I'm going back, I'm going to the hotel, I'm taking an early flight back to Calcutta, तुम लोग बैठो, would it be the same?
खत्म.
Yeah, so that's the thing. In fact, उस दिन में और एक चीज हुआ था, and which was that there was a at that time Irrfan Pathan used to play for Delhi and Yusuf used to play for Calcutta. Okay, and obviously Delhi Calcutta match, his parents very proud they'd come from Gujarat to watch the match. Mother was watching the match upstairs, and typically she was slightly asthmatic, and she got onto a lift and she came down, and जो होता है everyone's getting out, and she got out of the lift and she was struggling, and one of Yusuf and Irfan's cousin brothers was there, so she said there was a policeman sitting there. She said, बैठ सकते हैं मैडम को थोड़ा बेटा. Typical Delhi policeman said something very rude to the effect of that if you are not fit, why do you come to watch games? So stories, I am with Gautam in the press conference. So the press conference is happening. I'm with Gautam at the press conference. And I come back close to the dressing room and I can hear Yusuf shouting. He's really angry. And this is Yusuf's first year in KKR. So what culture he has, he knows nothing about what KKR is.
Right.
So I walk in, I find out what's happened. So I immediately go, I tell the other team, because Irfan's also there in the other team, I said, please just stay in the dressing room for a while, don't go now. Okay. please. He said, they were fine. So I went to the police head and I said, this is what has happened. I want a gentleman just to apologize to the lady. He said, नहीं वो तो घर चले गए. Typical Delhi police चलती है. I said, कोई नहीं, वो घर चले गए, हम घर नहीं जाएंगे. हम जब तक वो बंदा यहाँ नहीं आए, we are not leaving the stadium. मुझे किसे कॉल करना है बताइए. मुझे दिस थिंग है, मैं शाहरुख को बताऊंगा, मेरे से नहीं होगा, शाहरुख जिसे कॉल करना है कर देगा. आप बताइए किसे कॉल करना है. Pin drop silence. 15 minutes later, this guy comes and he's trembling. उसे पकड़े.
Clearly.
Nothing. I mean, it was so funny. All Irfan was there and Yusuf was there. All Yusuf said, यार तुम लोग करोगे तो बाकी लोग क्या करेंगे यार, बस वही बोला. And Yusuf after that 2 बार बोला, called me and told me कि यार उसका नौकरी ना जाए. नहीं, नौकरी नहीं जाएगा. But 2 things happened with that. One is that Yusuf realized that what was important to him was important to the entire team. It is not just about what is important to him, it's what is important to him. And that makes so much of a difference.
So much of a difference.
That what you care for, तुम्हें जब डर लगा, the whole team will stand
and
up.
And when you watch the other person taking a stand for you, बस फिर end result matter ही नहीं करता है. That's the team.
That's the team.
It's not about his mother alone.
No,
it's what was not right was not right. It could have been for anybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
Amazing.
2011, again that same season. KKR is 8-5. We are playing Mumbai in Kolkata. And last over 21 runs to get for them. We are winning that match. We win, we become first, second with a very good chance of reaching the finals. We lose, we become third, fourth, and we play with Mumbai again in Mumbai. And Balaji was bowling. First ball, edge 4. Second ball, edge 4. Edges, money, bowling like that. Third ball, edge. And then Bala just lost it. Obviously, that's happened.
Yeah.
Got hit for a couple of sixes. Match was over. He was devastated. So I remember that the one person who didn't leave his side, he was shell-shocked. He couldn't talk. The one person who didn't leave his side that entire evening was Gautam. Just stayed with him. Just stayed with him. कुछ बोल नहीं रहा था, कुछ नहीं, just stayed with him. The next year, we reached the first, second match का जो playoff था in Pune. And Balaji that year bowled so well, his economy rate was less than 6. He was one of the top bowlers in the tournament the next year. And he bowled, he took Sehwag's wicket of an edge, and that edge only, he got pulled a muscle. And he was crying when he was pulled off the ground. And the only thing he was saying was, please tell Gautam, I'm so sorry, I couldn't complete the job. And of course, we won the match. We went on to the final, we beat Chennai. But that is, what is that from? That is from 2011.
That bond that got.
Yeah. So that's,
he knew it matters to Gautam.
Yeah, he knew it mattered to the team. He knew it mattered.
Yeah. So, what are the things that you brought from the learnings of KKR, being a part of IPL to the Prime Volleyball League?
So KKR actually, the thing that the biggest thing that we took from KKR or this thing was, the first thing we did, which is not true in Indian sport at all other than cricket, is that the player is number one. So we said we will not compromise on player hotels, player nutrition, player hotels, player nutrition, player training. All player is number one. The best possible match, that very international match, best quality, and there are players who play in mud and other surfaces. This is the best quality. Okay. And what we've done is, that is something from the IPL, that therefore we also didn't put it in the hands of the team, because otherwise what happens, some team will say put in a 3-star hotel, somebody put in a 5-star hotel. There's a variation.
Yeah.
We said from the day, the 2 days before the tournament starts to end of tournament, all players will stay in this hotel or these 2 hotels. They will eat their meals. These are the meals. These are dietitian meals. These are meals. If a team has a specific need, they will give within that. And I mean, all of them are training. Yeah. Whether it's protein heavy or they want carbs before a match, they want to load, whatever.
Yeah.
But that we used to take charge of. So make sure that...
Like the core management team.
Yeah. So we looked after the players. We carried them to the ground. Once they came there, everything was ours. And there's a reason for it. Many years back, we tried to start, when I was at ESPN Star Sports, a hockey league called the Premier Hockey League, PHL. And it was very good hockey. People like, Viren Raskina played. They did very well. We couldn't sustain it because all the teams were owned by the federation itself, which doesn't work. There was no outside, you have to get it. And therefore, getting sponsors is difficult. But there, what we found out? We found out one of the teams, we were paying them some 3,000 rupees a day in those days to basically per player to feed the players. And this manager was putting the money in his own pocket and feeding them khana in a dhaba. And I have no problem with dhaba food, but playing in a tournament with that much of oil and that much of this thing, it just, we want. So these are the kind of things that happen. So that learning was very clear to us. Players are key. And we tell teams that, sorry, you're not important, your owner is not important, the player is number one. Because if you don't make the player number one, you can't make a league.
And the success of that, has that now started the conversations around the sportsman quality, the fitness, the recruitment? क्योंकि ये सब अभी तक तो हम बात ही नहीं कर रहे थे उससे पहले तक.
So a lot of it has. To be honest, a lot of it has. For example, क्या हुआ था? First IPL में when I remember Adrian, who's the trainer for the Kolkata Knight Riders, who used to be the trainer for the Indian team, and Andrew, who was our physio, was the physio for the Indian team. The young Bengal cricketers, for example, Dinda, Riddhiman Saha, how to train, वो एड्रियन ने सिखाया कि ऐसे करके ट्रेनिंग करना है, ऐसे डाइट है, तुम लोग इतना चावल खाते हो, कैसे खाते हो. So all those things were things that they started learning there. Then what would they do? They'd send Adrian ki, what should my diet be? He'd start sending them diets. These are the exercises you need to do. Of that, now he's going to go back to his Bengal team guys will say, why are you eating this? What are you eating? What exercises are you doing? So that slowly starts spreading. The culture of physios, culture of good diets, the culture of, good training, proper recovery, all these, lots of these lessons. So what IPL did was it made this entire ecosystem. Today, you see that same guy, say for example, an assistant physio who came to KKR. He was assistant physio, Kamlesh Jain. Kamlesh Jain was assistant physio to Andrew and Adrian. So he worked with Andrew, understood it. From there, he worked with the Bengal team. Bengal team में वो सीखा, वहाँ से he took that experience, all the Bengal players learned from the experience of the IPL. From there, he's taken his experience to the Indian people. So all these are, they keep empowering each other and that's spreading. So today, that mass of kids who's exposed to that kind of understanding, this is what you should eat as a player. This is the kind of game you should practice. This is the kind of diet you should have. All these are things that have come a lot as a result of the IPL.
Wow.
And not just the IPL. There's one more thing that contributed. When Ahmedabad Bindra won gold, that also started a movement. Olympic Gold Quest, Go Sports Foundation saying, can we build Olympic medalists in other sport? And that movement also said, because they looked at it very professionally, saying, forget everything. Can we win X number of gold medals? Medals, not gold medals. And if you see what India has been doing over the last 7-8 years, at least 5-6 medals we are taking.
Yeah.
And it's because we have now understood how to at least give our athletes the best chance in international sport.
Is it like what you were saying, कि अब हमें समझ आ गया है?
Top level में समझ में आ गया कि what used to happen also is that, remember India में, suppose you take an athlete outside cricket. Okay, so what happens is, say Neeraj Chopra. So there are many stakeholders for Neeraj Chopra.
Yeah.
There is, so he works in the army. So Army Institute of Sports he's working with. Then there's Jindal. Jindal has the Indian Institute of Sports. Then there's the government who also sends him a lot of the money for his training and all is done with the government. Okay. And then there is, as I said, JSW who's looking after over it. Now, all these people, at one time they had their egos, they'd all be fighting with each other. In the past 6-7 years, that's the one thing that has developed. I mean, now the government knows there are some things they can't do. For example, I'll give you a very good example. Suppose a female athlete I know, she really feels comfortable there traveling with her mother. So with her coach, अच्छी बात है, but mother gives her psychologically happy peace. Okay. Now, Sarkar cannot sanction a mother to go. You cannot sanction it. Sarkar बोलती है मैं कैसे दे?
कोई clause ही नहीं है.
Clause ही नहीं है. I cannot do it. तब सरकार बोलती है कि देखो, I will fill this. I will give the coaches money. You JSW pay for the
mother.
So private and public get together and do it. And since the time they have got together and decided to resolve their differences and do it, our top level athletes are getting as good as you can get in any part of the world. Our problem is creating the base. Our problem is not the top level now.
And ये सारा top level साथ में आ रहा है because everybody sees a big opportunity together, या love for sports?
Of course, love for sport is there, but it is also an opportunity. If I
Hmm.
am now, say, a program officer in Go Sport Foundation or Simply Sport or OGQ or anyone, I also, if my career will be built also getting an Olympic medalist athlete. Na? So everyone benefits.
Opportunity दिख रही है कि ये streamline हो रहा है, अगर इसमें जुड़े रहे तो there is
Value, yeah.
there is an opportunity there. So if I today I'm interested in sports and I'm training myself into it, can I see a career as an established career? Like वो जो एक funnel वो बनता दिख रहा है? Because पहले जो मेरे जैसे layman के लिए what we heard was that अगर तुम्हारा number आ गया तो आ गया, if you're really good at it, yeah, like it's very unfair. That's like,
No, it still is largely this thing. Dekhiye, I'll tell you what has really happened, which has made a difference. One is say somebody like an IPL. IPL up say so. In before this, who really made a living out of cricket? 15, 16 cricketers in India before the IPL. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Today that pool is now 150 to IPL mein hi hoga. 150 Indian cricketers in the IPL only. Like there's a minimum value of contracts. And then take all the other leagues, combined all the other leagues. So you are saying that at least 400-500 cricketers are now looking at it and saying, I'm making enough decent money. Almost 1,000 cricketers.
Wow.
So from 15, if you're going to 1,000, you're increasing that base. Okay.
Yeah.
But that's happened only in the IPL. In other sport, what has happened is very interesting. What we've become very good at is, if you have top talent, we now have really good people, whether it's, as I said, Go Sport, Simply Sport, all these, some really good foundations, OGQ, all of these can take a top athlete and give them the best chance to compete. Because training bahar kaise karna hai, what coaches do they need? Say Neeraj Chopra working with, JSW. The kind of training is required at IAS, what is required, what to do, what not to do, how to take it forward. It's all there for him. What we now need, so we are now, this is the peak, this is the tip of the sporting this thing. So we have now learned ki is jagah polish kaise karna hai. Okay, jewelry hone se, if you're a diamond, I know how to polish this diamond.
Precisely wahan pe.
Now my problem is I need to find more diamonds. The level before this, above this, below this is we still don't have good enough people. We are still not seeing enough good people and identifying enough talent. So the government is trying very hard. I mean, they are Khelo India doing things, but the problem is Khelo India kya ho raha hai? School, college level, you're seeing a kid, and then where does the kid go? Till professional level, there's nothing. So the kid falls off the radar.
Yeah.
So those things, because hamara na in sport in India, what we really need is a middle class. We don't have a middle class. We have the bottom, we have the school, this thing, we have the apex, and the apex we are doing well now. This middle class we don't have in Indian sport, which is actually there in cricket, because Ranji Trophy hota hai, अभी तमिलनाडु लीग हो रहा है, कभी बैंगलोर में कर्नाटका लीग हो रहा है, अभी बंगाल में लीग हो रहा है. So that middle class is being developed in cricket. It's not being developed in any other sport.
And is that something that you're taking up with the volleyball league?
Definitely. I mean, in fact, we did a volleyball league. Tamil Nadu has just started their own volleyball league, which is really good news. And that's how, if you need feeders, you need other leagues to come up, you need associate leagues to throw up talent. And that's how the system actually develops. You can't just be top whatever.
The supply kahan se hoga? Input kahan
top
se
down,
hoga?
you can't be top down. You have to be bottom up.
Bottoms up. So, like you said, that the volleyball understanding happened at Calicut, but now that you understand volleyball from a TV screen perspective, and cricket, of course, what are the is there a difference in managing both the sports?
So there are two things. One is, as I said, cricket is a different level of a sport altogether. So and cricket in India is the A sport. So everything you get, everything, all the abilities,
सबको प्यार है इससे.
सब कुछ है. There is nothing to explain to anyone. With volleyball, you have to be far more. So volleyball is an interesting sport because it is played a lot in schools and colleges. But after people play in schools and colleges, uske baad there's no, you never watched it on TV. So abhi Prime Volleyball League, you're finally seeing it on TV. You're seeing people becoming stars. So that is only started in this last 2-3 years. So we have to build that culture of volleyball, and that is the one big thing that you have to do. But there's one difference. Cricket is a sport played like by 10-12 nations seriously. Now T20 cricket is spreading it. volleyball is an international sport since it's been in the Olympics since 1960s, and it's a huge sport globally. It's the second most played team sport in the world after football in terms of people playing. There's one other thing that most people don't realize. That is that why volleyball, every international federation who's not cricket is dying to come to India. Because India is the largest untapped market remaining.
For everything.
For everything.
Yeah.
So हम जो सोचते हैं कि उन लोग बैठे हुए हैं वहाँ, they don't want to come here, it's totally the opposite. All of them want to come here. And in fact, when we had whatever relation with the federation and all the trouble, we spoke directly to the International Federation. And in fact, this year, the volleyball jo champions of our Prime Volleyball League played the Club World Championship, which was held in Bangalore this year by us. Because they want to bring top level sporting volleyball action to India. And similarly, next year also we are doing it in Chennai. This year also we are doing it in Chennai. And that is something huge. Can you imagine the FIFA Club World Cup happening in India? It's like that. And that has happened not just because volleyball is big, it is because International Volleyball Federation sees India as one of these huge markets. So think of it as a huge market which is very latent.
Yeah.
And nothing needs to be at cricket's level. You don't need to be cricket. You can be 1/5 of cricket and very successful. And that's
उसका अपना interest group है, उसका अपना एक market.
So we are 1.4 billion people.
Yeah.
I mean, what are we talking?
What are we talking about? But I think what you're saying is amazing is कि as volleyball हमारे देश में डेवलप नहीं है, but बाहर बहुत डेवलप है.
Hugely developed.
तो सब कुछ रेडी है, सब कुछ पता है, सब कुछ आता है.
And not only that, उन लोग का सबसे बड़ा इंटरेस्ट है इंडिया को बड़ा करे.
हाँ. उनको इंडिया में इंटरेस्ट है.
अरे FIVB has just given, working with Sai in the sports ministry.
हाँ.
They are paying for an international coach, an international analyst, an international trainer who's currently already in India. Why? Because who's most interested in Indian volleyball coming up? Them. Even more than us. अरे हमारे फेडरेशन तो 20 साल से डुबा रहे इंडियन वॉलीबॉल को. इन लोग इंटरनेशनल फेडरेशन वेट कर रहा है कि कहाँ एक अच्छा फेडरेशन है. हमें देखे, हम लोग फेडरेशन नहीं थे, फिर भी देखे कि इन लोग से होगा. हम लोग के साथ काम इमीडिएटली करना शुरू किया, क्योंकि उन लोग का इंटरेस्ट है कि वॉलीबॉल मासेस तक जब तक नहीं पहुंचेगा कैसे बनाओगे तो. So they are very keen, and that's what most federations, you people, every federation, this is the rule, I can tell you. Every federation wants to conquer the India market. If they are not able to do it, it is our problem. It is a problem of our federations, of our sports officials कि हम लोग ये capitalize नहीं कर पा रहे.
And why do they want to come to India?
Single biggest market. I'll give you a simple thing. India is 117th in FIFA ranking. Okay.
ठीक है.
Okay. 117th. The single largest, we are the second largest social media contributors to FIFA after Brazil. And the only reason we are number 2, we would have been number 1, is because TikTok is banned in India and TikTok में Brazil में ज़्यादा है. But if you consider just the remaining social media, we are bigger than anybody else. On a sport where we are 117th. फीफा भी क्यों इंडिया में अंडर 17 वर्ल्ड कप क्या लिटरली पकड़कर हमें बताए, आप प्लीज कीजिए टू डेवलप दिस स्पोर्ट इन द कंट्री. सो एवरीबडी इज सिटिंग. प्रॉब्लम हमारी तरफ से है, उन लोग की तरफ से नहीं है. उन लोग बोल रहे हैं यार आ जाओ प्लीज, ब्रिंग योर 1.4 बिलियन पीपल, ब्रिंग योर बिग मार्केट टू वर्ल्ड स्पोर्ट. हमसे नहीं हो रहा है.
हमसे नहीं हो रहा है. और हमारा क्या प्रॉब्लम है?
सबका अपना एजेंडा है ना.
पर हमारा तो बहुत पुराना चला आ रहा है ना, तो क्या इशू क्या है हमारा?
तो इशू वेरियस पीपल, वेरियस डिफरेंट काइंड्स ऑफ एजेंडा. आई मीन समटाइम्स इट्स जस्ट नॉट एफिशिएंटली रन. समटाइम्स क्या होता है, छोटे छोटे जो फेडरेशन है ना, वो बड़े नहीं होने चाहते हैं, कॉर्पोरेटाइज नहीं होने चाहते हैं, क्योंकि दे डोंट हैव द स्किल्स टू डू इट. क्या होता है दैट इफ आई एम रनिंग अ 10 people ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, आई मे बी गुड इनफ टू रन. व्हेन दैट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन नाउ नीड्स टू बी 100 people, मेरा औकात नहीं है. I don't understand.
और खुद को हटाना नहीं चाहते उस स्पेस से.
I'd rather remain 10 and मेरा ही चले ना. So this is one huge problem. Then there is corruption. Then there is a variety of other reasons. So look, lots has changed. Lots is happening. But lots more needs to change.
Sure. And ये ऐसा बाहर नहीं होता?
सब जगह होता है. See, सब जगह होता है. But institutionalized, not doing well. I think India has to be the probably we are one of the worst in the way we cover.
जो सबसे ज्यादा लंबा ड्रैग हो गया है probably, you know.
We are among the worst in how we run our sport.
And does it also connect with कि हम intrinsically sports loving country नहीं है, appreciate नहीं करते हैं?
देखिए, it all is a matter of the culture. And iska bhi, there is value there. There is some understanding there, because say for example Brazil, you know, hum log we talk about infrastructure. We say Brazil has infrastructure. Brazil, you know, European teams have infrastructure. That's why their football is so much better. Or physically they're fitter.
Yeah.
Firstly, in 1.4 billion people, I'm sure we have at least 20 million who's as fit as them. Number one. Number two is that if you look at infrastructure, yes, Europe has a lot. Brazil is shambolic. I'm telling you, Brazil, we have much better infrastructure than Brazil does.
Achha.
And the truth is, where has Pele learned his football? On the streets. Pele, Ronaldinho, these are guys who have learned football on this, literally on the streets of Sao Paulo, on the streets of the cities. So, what are you talking about? They had passion. And that's why I tell people, I said, yeah, sport for chhod do about, you know, you're watching Barcelona, you really want to back Indian football? Go and watch your son's school match. That is what happens in their country. They watch their son's school matches. Their local sport is big. You travel in America anywhere, you know, and you're going to a town and you stop somewhere and say, you know, where's the petrol pump? You say, yeah, he's there. You know, he was a high school football star. यहाँ तो पता भी नहीं है high school में. So that culture is, yes, they're definitely missing. It is there in many places. I mean, you know, there are small places where there's a lot of culture. You know, Sansarpur used to be for hockey. Okay, Sansarpur in Punjab used to be a hockey hub. Okay. There are hubs like that. You know, there is Kozhikode. It's a volleyball hub. Lots of players come out from there. You know, northeast में footballing hubs है, Imphal में है. So there are hubs where sport is huge, and we need to build these hubs, because that's how it will happen.
And the way you say it, वहाँ पे वो hub इसलिए because actually family involved होती है. It's a family sport.
So there's a great thing which is happening now. It's called, you know, one of the people who's associated with, you know, the Mumbai Meteors, is the Prime Volleyball team, is also running something called the Brahmaputra Volleyball League, which is amazing. He's a former India captain. Assam mein tha. He started it during COVID of teaching kids, and what he's done is village versus village matches for boys and girls, under 12, under 15, two different age groups.
Wow.
And how it happens is वहाँ कुछ नहीं है. So literally एक village अगर खेलने के लिए आता है, इस village में एक family बोलता है कि हम लोग the men of the village will, you know, cut the ground to make the volleyball ground. Okay, कोई उसे plain करेगा. The women will cook. Somebody else will do it. So the entire village is involved. Which makes a huge difference. So that's the kind of, and it's a fantastic idea. In fact, now the International Federation, FIVB, has adopted it as one of their pilot programs. Achha. And that is a big thing, because they have managed to, what they managed to do successfully, because it's not about throwing money. It's about how can I contribute. ठीक है, मैं जाकर रेलवे स्टेशन में जाकर प्लेयर लोग को रिसीव करूंगा. मैं क्या कर सकता हूँ? ठीक है, मेरे घर से मैं 15 में मछली बना रहा हूँ, मैं मछली लेकर जाऊंगा. मैं चाय दे दूंगा, पानी दे दूंगा. हाँ. That's how it works.
So can you help us know the captain of the volleyball league?
So, I mean, every team has a coach. So there are lots of top players. I have to say one of the top players is Ashwal, who is the captain of the Kolkata Thunderbolts. And he's a middle blocker, which means that he's about 6 feet, 7, 8 inches tall. A lot of volleyball players are very tall. But the great thing about him is that he has that unbelievable ability to be in the air. And he doesn't hit the ball very hard, but he can change what he wants to do. He has a lot of time. Up cricket may use that analogy a lot with batters who have a lot of time. Say that they can decide whether to hit it here or here or here. He has a lot of time. In the air, he can decide to go this way, see the defender react, then make his move. So there's somebody like that. Then there's somebody like a Muthusamy, who's the captain of the Ahmedabad team. He's a setter. Setter is the most important person in volleyball. Setter is the person who, so when a volleyball is, you know, serve happens, there's a first pass. So the first person receives. He's a defender effect. What is his job? His job is to make the ball sit up as nicely as possible, easily as possible. Why? Because once he does that, then the setter will take that ball and send it this side, that side. Where to send it will decide. And then the attackers will come, and there'll be lots of fakes also. So I may be doing this, and one guy will jump just pretending to hit and not hit, and the next guy might hit. So lots of that happens. So the setter sets all this up. Muthusamy is the setter of the team, and that is it's like the point guard in basketball. He controls ki kahan se I'm going to set behind, I'm going to set in front, and he is the mastermind of the team, and they play the attack through him. So he is a particular kind of player who's really, really good. And then there's a player called Guruprashant. He's an attacker, and his job is to attack from the side. So his thing is huge jump. He attacks from the side. He has all the court to attack. And these are some of the top players in the country. They're like absolutely amazing. And the quality of the game, all these players, as I said, once this league, as I said, already we've started getting uh, word from people who want to be are interested in them. They could play internationally. They're all capable of playing internationally.
Wow. And they're ready.
They're ready.
And that's all happened in just these few years.
Yeah, these 2-3 years. Yeah.
What are you committed to? Basically, a very healthy sports ecosystem, or there are more things that are in your vision?
So sports ecosystem, because sport it goes beyond. See, as I said, I've been continuously saying sport in India doesn't have a middle class, but there is change. For example, I'll give you very anecdotally. If you stay in a complex where you stay in Chambod or I stay in Gurgaon, the number of people in the morning you will see walking or running, that has changed in the last 15-20 years. Before you'd see one person, two people, "Kaun pagal hai daud raha hai."
Yeah.
Today you'll see lots of people running, walking. Yeah. So there's a culture now of sport.
Yeah.
Also, a lot of people of my generation, when we went to study, we were told, "Padhai karo, roti kapda makan." I mean, there's no chance for you to do anything else.
Yeah.
Today, our generation, not me, so many other parents who were there were saying that, okay, I had to study and had no option. I want to give my kid the chance. And a lot of that is happening. A lot of kids, from, parents who have made the money, who've done well, want to say if the kid wants to play sport, let him play sport. So that culture is there. Thirdly, there's a whole culture of so many of these people who are running, who can contribute because they want to buy good shoes. Shoe sales happen.
Yeah.
They get sponsorship. Again, that ecosystem builds. And I think that is what we need to do. We can't just have 500 elite athletes and school athletes.
Yeah.
Beech mein kuch karna hai.
So now you see that the middle class is developing, coming into that.
Yeah.
And probably like the college guys now or the
So that's what we still have a drop off point after college. Abhi bhi college ke baad kuch nahi hai. And either it's sarkari naukri hai ya kuch nahi hai. वो अगर convert कर सके तो it'll be, if he can keep having other leagues which keeps them occupied, it'll add this value.
But एक common आदमी क्या करे? Sports में interest है. I as a parent, I know my kid is like really, has got the sports mindset.
So look, play sport. There are only, everywhere in the world there's 1% in our country, it'll be 0.1% of people who actually make a career out of sport. But sport gives you a lot more. It teaches you to win, to lose. It teaches you teamwork often. It teaches you dedication. There are a lot of qualities that come with sport. In fact, if you remember in the 70s and 80s, if you went to a tea company in Calcutta had a lot of tea companies, tea brokers and all.
Yeah.
Carrot Moran and J. Thomas and all. They would select people who were sportsmen. Not because the sport was needed, but because moment you're a sportsman, you understand 2-3 things. You understand teamwork, you understand getting along with other people, you understand winning and losing.
Right.
So I think that is something.
Values for life.
Those are values for life, and that's coming. That if you encourage a kid to play sport, that'll always come.
And then whether they become the sports person or not,
such a small percentage become that you shouldn't even consider it.
But is there any development that you see in some universities and some colleges where, like the Western countries, there are points for being sports person? Is that structure
it's already
coming
there.
in?
See, there is a sports quota, but more than that, there are now specialized universities. For example, in volleyball, there's a university called SRM in Chennai, which is like huge. I mean, at least 30% of the Indian team is from SRM. And even though some of them are not from Chennai, they come to Chennai because the top level of this thing that they get for volleyball, the kind of training they get. Similarly, Kurukshetra University is the Northern Gharana. अगर आप वहाँ Southern Gharana देखिए तो this is the Northern Gharana. बहुत अच्छे प्लेयर आते हैं. Kurukshetra University is where lot of good volleyball is
तो वहाँ की leadership उसको promote करती है.
Guru Nanak Dev University Amritsar, वहाँ भी कुछ बहुत काम होता है. So that's what I'm saying, that ये centers develop होते हैं. They're specialists, some specialists. More such centers you get. Calicut University is a center again. So the more such universities and people you get where specific sports are followed and there's a culture of it, then you start creating heroes. See, heroes happen in your backyard. You're going to play volleyball because the kid in front of you plays, he plays for his university. That's how it happens. So you see somebody on TV. Our job is to create heroes.
Wow.
And heroines, obviously.
Thank you. I think it's very, very, very inspiring to just see. Like, I really honestly thought there are many people behind this mindset change, but what I got present to in our conversation was इतने भी लोग नहीं हैं. It's a few of you who like really just did right time, right thing, all of that, right people coming together. But काफी मजे की बात है कि like a handful of people and something that we were like so much in denial and इतना negative हो गया था sports का सारा चीज की कोई फायदा नहीं है, कुछ करने का फायदा नहीं है. Turned around like how?
Let's see. I mean, yeah, I'm very hopeful. There is, I mean, next 20 years sports should boom in the country.
कैसा लगा ये पॉडकास्ट? मेरे लिए खास बात इसमें ये थी कि कुछ 2-3 लोग कभी कभी कमाल कर जाते हैं, जो कभी भी नहीं हुआ हिस्ट्री में वो कर जाते हैं. सो आईपीएल एक ऐसी चीज है, क्रिकेट हमारे लिए बहुत ही फेवरेट है, लेकिन कभी भी इस तरह से नहीं निकल के आया जो आईपीएल ने किया. और किया किसने? कुछ 2-3 लोगों ने मिलके. सो दैट इज अ लेसन दैट आई टेक फॉरवर्ड इन माई ओन लाइफ. आप बताइए आपके लिए क्या लेसन है इस पूरे पॉडकास्ट से? एंड ऑब्वियसली अब जो प्राइम वॉलीबॉल लीग जिस पे जॉय काम कर रहे हैं, मेरी तो बहुत सारी उम्मीद है उससे, क्योंकि जॉय ने जितना लर्निंग अपना आईपीएल से किया है वो पूरा उसमें लेके आ रहे हैं. एंड व्हाई नॉट? पर आपको क्या लगता है, क्या प्राइम वॉलीबॉल लीग हमारे देश से वो प्रॉपर्टी बन पाएगा जो एक आईपीएल बना? Do share what do you think about the sport and the league. और जब स्पोर्ट्स कल्चर की बात आती है तो मुझे याद आता है जो हमारा एक पुराना पॉडकास्ट है जिसमें गर्ल्स के ऊपर स्पोर्ट्स कल्चर और स्पोर्ट्स माइंडसेट पर ट्रांसफॉर्मेटिव काम हो रहा है. तो इमेजिन करिए कि एक इंसान है जो कि किसी एक नॉर्मल से गांव में रहता है, पढ़ता बढ़ता है, बड़े शहरों में जाता है और फाइनली अमेरिका पहुंच जाता है एक सेफ स्पेस में, जो कि हमारे मिडिल क्लास के लिए एक अल्टीमेट ड्रीम होता है. वहां पे पहुंच गए, अब आप मेंटेन रखते हो, लेकिन वो इंसान वो कंफर्टेबल लाइफ छोड़ देता है एक दिन, जस्ट लाइक दैट छोड़ देते हैं और वापस आते हैं राजस्थान के उस गांव में. किस लिए? एजुकेशन और स्पोर्ट्स माइंडसेट को कंबाइन करने के लिए. क्यों भाई, क्यों करनी इतनी मेहनत? एजुकेशन पे तो बहुत लोग काम कर रहे हैं, बट उसमें स्पोर्ट्स को इतना स्ट्रांगली क्यों कंबाइन करना है? क्योंकि उनका ऐसा मानना है कि जो स्पोर्ट्स माइंडसेट होता है वो जिस तरह की इंडिपेंडेंस क्रिएट करता है और जिस तरह का सेल्फ कॉन्फिडेंस क्रिएट करता है वो कुछ कोई और चीज नहीं करती. आई अग्री, जॉय भी वही बात कर रहे हैं. सो वी अग्री, टोटली अग्री. सो ये जिस खास इंसान की मैं बात कर रही हूँ वो है प्रेमलता पुनिया. उनके साथ जो हमने पॉडकास्ट किया था तो हमने देखा कि एक लड़की जो कि उसी गांव की सड़क पे बहुत ही शर्मा के या बेसिक हमारे कल्चर के थ्रू जब वॉक करती है तो बड़ी झिझक होती है. कॉन्फिडेंस की तो कोई बात ही मत करिए, इंडिपेंडेंट तो बिल्कुल ही फील नहीं करती है. लेकिन जब वो इस तरह से ट्रेन होती है, स्पोर्ट्स माइंडसेट के साथ ट्रेन होती है और वो उसी सड़क पे भागती है, ना सर झुका के चलना बट भागती है, तो उसका कॉन्फिडेंस और उसकी एक इंडिपेंडेंट आइडेंटिटी आप अंडू नहीं कर सकते. दैट इज व्हाट प्रेमलता पुनिया इज डूइंग. आई होप आपने उनका पॉडकास्ट सुना होगा. नहीं सुना तो डोंट वरी, हम इसमें कमेंट में पिन कर रहे हैं. जस्ट क्लिक एंड गो एंड वॉच. सो आई होप यू लाइक बोथ दीज एपिसोड्स. आप हमारे पॉडकास्ट को शेयर करिए जिस भी किसी एक इंसान के साथ जो आपको लगता है कि जो एंजॉय करेगा. डू शेयर इट, लाइक एंड प्लीज अपने कमेंट ड्रॉप करिए. हम सुनना चाहेंगे कि आपके लिए क्या वर्क करता है, क्या नहीं वर्क करता है. और एक बात, अगर कोई गेस्ट हैं जिनका आप पॉडकास्ट सुनना चाहते हैं या कोई टॉपिक है जिसपे आप और नॉलेज लेना चाहते हैं तो जरूर हमें शेयर करिए. वी विल ट्राई आवर बेस्ट टू मेक इट हैपन. थैंक यू.